Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my 2018 Oscar predictions video. Now, I had intended initially to make a 2018 predictions for nominations, and as I've kind of gone through and reviewed movies, I've been predicting within the videos themselves. So I didn't get to do the one with the nominations because I took too long and the nominations are out. Also, my best of 2017 movies is coming out soon, even though we're already in February. Haven't forgotten about it. I'll do it eventually, maybe tomorrow. But anyways, this one's about the Oscar nominations, and I'm gonna try and predict who's gonna win. I was correct on some of mine as far as like when I said I think this one's gonna get a nomination, this is gonna get a nomination, and we'll see in a few weeks if I was correct about the ones I picked to win. So let's start off visual effects. So the nominations are Blade Runner 2049, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Kong Skull Island, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and War for the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to go with War for the Planet of the Apes for best special effects because the CGI and the performance capture on Andy Serkis were so good. I believe that I was looking at a talking ape. And I don't know why, for some reason, maybe it's because I read Congo by Michael Crichton. I've always gotten really annoyed when people call them monkeys. They're not monkeys. A monkey is a little creature that swings by its tail um, and isn't very large. A chimp and a gorilla, those are not monkeys. They're apes. They eat monkeys. They're primates, but technically humans are primates. So I don't know. Anyway, War for the Planet of the Apes. Blade Runner 2049. There was nothing too groundbreaking there. It's very beautiful CGI, but I don't think there's anything that pushed the boundaries. Guardians of the Galaxy, some of the stuff was a little bit cartoony here and there. It was all good. Star Wars: The Last Jedi, nothing blew my mind. War for the Planet of the Apes, man. When you're looking at Caesar give his speeches and when he's talking, you believe that he's that creature standing in front of you. Excellent. So that is my pick. Uh, Moving on, costume design. So here's one I predicted. I predicted the Phantom Thread would not only get nominated but win, and sure enough, it got nominated. Shape of Water also got costume design. Now I wonder if Shape of Water is a little confusing. If the kind of like the aquatic creature, if they're it this Shape of Water did not get nominated for makeup and hair, so I guess they're putting his costume under costume design. The other nominees are also Beauty and the Beast. Nice period pieces often get nominated. Darkest Hour, uh, Victoria and Abdul, which I did not see, and then Shape of Water and Phantom Thread. I think Phantom Thread is going to win. It would be almost embarrassing that a movie about a fashion designer does not win. I think a lot of those dresses and those designs were beautiful. The movie is like made to win this Oscar. So my pick for costume design is Mark Bridges in Phantom Thread. So makeup and hair, Wonder is nominated. So is Victoria and Abdul and Darkest Hour. So I haven't seen Victoria and Abdul, and Darkest Hour. I actually, when I was watching that movie, I thought, did Gary Oldman gain all this weight for this role? And it turns out he did not. He was actually in a fat suit, which was very convincing. That tells you that they did a good job with the makeup and with the makeup and hair. Same goes for Wonder. So when I reviewed Wonder, I said I think this movie's going to get nominated for makeup and hair, and boom, correct I was. You could go back look at my review, and when I was watching Wonder, I looked up the actor who played this kid because I wanted to see, is his face really messed up like this? Does he really have this deformity? And he does not. That's how good and that's how convincing the hair and makeup was. So I'm going to say Wonder is going to win for makeup and hair, and that'll go to Argent Houghton. And also for that visual effects, it was Joe Letteri, Dan Lemon, not Don Lemon, Daniel Barrett, and Joe West for Planet of the Apes. Gotta give them their credit there. Best original song. So The nominees are Mighty River from Mudbound. I did not see Mystery of Love. Call Me by Your Name, which I saw the movie, but that song doesn't stand out for me. Remember Me from Coco. Stand Up for Something from Marshall, which I did not see. This Is Me from The Greatest Showman, which I did not see. So I saw 2 out of the 5 movies. But I think it's almost in the bag to say it's almost a sure win that for Coco to win this by Christian Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez for Remember Me from Coco. And I think, I think it's the most memorable song. From what I hear, that's the one that got it got a very big emotional response the way it was used in the movie. And I really loved Coco. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. I think it's my most watched review actually. So I'm gonna go for Coco wins with Remember Me for best original song. Moving on, best original score. So we got Hans Zimmer with Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, Johnny Greenwood. Johnny Greenwood is actually he's becoming a little more and more prominent. He did Paul Thomas Anderson's last movie. Also, he did There Will Be Blood. So it's good to see him come back. The Shape of Water with Alexandre Desplat. John Williams. This is like his 55th nomination or something for Star Wars. And Carter Burrell for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri was a really good film. And you know what? I don't think I've done my review for it now that I think about it. I need to do that. So I'll do that after this. But I don't remember any memorable music. The only one of these with music that really stands out to me is The Shape of Water for Alexander Desplat. So I think that one's going to win. However, there is an outside chance that they might give it to Hans Zimmer, who, man, Chris Nolan just really likes working with Hans Zimmer. But the most memorable music has got to go to Alexander Desplat. He's just the one that, to me, there's this one beautiful scene in The Shape of Water. It turns almost into a musical number. That's where the score really started to. I was like, this movie's got good score to it. So, Alexander Desplat with The Shape of Water. Best production design. So, again, I predicted, I think, 2 of these. I said Blade Runner 2049 is going to get nominated, and I said I think it's going to win when I saw it. And I also said production design, I think, if I'm not mistaken, during my Shape of Water review. So Shape of Water, Blade Runner 2049, Beauty and the Beast, which has a good chance to win, Darkest Hour, and Dunkirk. So I'm picking Blade Runner 2049 with Dennis Gassner and Alessandra Curzola for best production design, just because that the way that the sets were laid out and designed, the whole movie is very, it's a very aesthetically pleasing movie to watch. Even though those of you who watched my review know that I hated that movie, it was awfully boring. Oh my god, it was boring. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful movie. It's like looking at a piece of art, but I don't want to look at a piece of art necessarily for 2.5, 3 hours. You know, it's beautifully shot movie. So I'm gonna give production design. The sets, the sets. I know it's not. I know the difference between cinematography, but it's just the way they designed it and the look of it. It deserves to. I think it deserves to win. Now, sound mixing. With this one, so sound mixing. Excuse me. Sound mixing and sound editing are a little bit different. From my understanding, or at least the way I've always interpreted it, is sound mixing is more like sound effects, right? What does a laser blaster sound like, right? You can't go just fire a laser blaster. There's no laser blaster to fire. You have to make that sound. So the nominees are Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Shape of Water, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I would say Star Wars: The Last Jedi, but the problem is that at this point, I think Star Wars just has a large library of sound effects from the past that I think they just kind of select those and reuse those. I don't know that they're really doing anything new. Maybe they are. Maybe they're redoing everything every time, but I don't think so. Um, I'm actually gonna go with I think Blade Runner 2049. Um, yeah, Dunkirk might go in and sweep that, but typically a lot of this stuff goes to sci-fi movies because, for example, with Dunkirk, they had to make all those sounds with like the plane, like the zoom, but they could have just recorded it, and that's a known sound. So I think I'm going to go with Blade Runner 2049 for sound mixing. It'll be Matt Ruth, Ron Bartlett, and Doug Heffel. So sound editing, which is more like how it's cut together, not necessarily making the sound effects. Uh, and also the way you cut music and sound. Sometimes you'll have like a silent moment. For example, in the Last Jedi, during the scene where the purple-haired lady goes into Lightspeed, it just got dead quiet. That's an example of sound editing. Um, so again, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Shape of Water, Dunkirk, Blade Runner, and Baby Driver. Pretty much the same nominees. Um, because Baby Driver played so much with the music, and it had the characters actually singing along. You could tell it took a lot of pre-planning to be able to get the rights to all that and to be able to sync the music correctly, um, time your action sequences to what Baby was listening to. So I'm gonna go with Baby Driver for best sound editing. Uh, yep, yeah, that's my pick. Baby Driver. Julian Slater did that. Best film editing. So here we have Baby Driver, Dunkirk, I, Tonya, The Shape of Water, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I think Dunkirk is going to win. It's not my favorite. Um, I like Baby Driver. Um, I want Baby Driver to win. That's my favorite. Right? That's the one I want to win. But the one I think will win is Dunkirk. And I think that just goes back to Chris Nolan and how he likes to edit things often out of order. I actually think doing that with Dunkirk was a disservice. I know what he was trying to do, like, oh, now it's from this point of view, now it's from that point of view, but I often found myself lost, and I still don't exactly know what happened when in what order with that movie. And I think the Academy kind of just sometimes, oh, this is a Nolan film, okay, editing. But with Baby Driver, it was edited in such a way where the action sequences and the chase sequences are clean, and you always have a good sense of awareness as far as where everybody is at. You could tell they made a concerted effort. They had a concerted effort uh, to keep track of things spatially, and it came across in the editing. You're never lost, like in a Transformers movie where it's just piles of garbage. Uh, being wadded up in your face and you don't even know what you're looking at. So I'm gonna say Dunkirk's gonna win, but my favorite is Baby Driver. Best foreign language film. I did not see any of these. Uh, from Chile, there's a Fantastic Woman. Lebanon, The Insult. Russia, Loveless. Hungary, On Body and Soul. And from Sweden, The Square. I didn't see any of these. I never heard of those. I don't know what that is, so I have no opinion. Okay, best live action short film. I have not seen any of these either. Uh, the Caleb, Elementary, The 11 O'Clock, My Nephew Emmett, The Silent Child, and Watu Wote slash All of Us. I have no opinion, didn't see any of these. Okay, best documentary short subject. I didn't see any of these. Edith and Eddie, Heaven is a Traffic Jam, Heroin, Knife Skills, and Traffic Stop. I have no clue, so no opinion. Unlike, I know some people like to be opinionated on things that they know nothing about. I don't do that. Okay? Now, best documentary feature. Let's see. I didn't see any of these. Last Man in Aleppo, I've heard of that one. And I think I had a chance to watch it, and then I was just like, I didn't go see it. So Strong Island, Last Man in Aleppo, Icarus, Faces, Places, and Abacus. I have no opinion again. So that's one, two, three, four that I have no opinion on because I didn't see them. Okay, now here we go. Cinematography. Nominees are Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, and Shape of Water. I did not see Mudbound, unfortunately. I don't even know what that is. I think Blade Runner 2049 deserves this Oscar. It is the most beautifully shot movies of the four that I've seen of these five. Shape of Water could steal it, but Blade Runner 2049 was just shot so beautiful, and that's Roger Deakins was the cinematographer, the DOP on that film, and it's wonderfully shot, man. I feel like that movie's more suited to be like have it in one of those electronic picture frames that changes shots like every 20 minutes, and just have it hanging over your fireplace or something. That's what I think more about that movie. It's a collection of very beautiful images. Okay, original screenplay. Okay, I've seen all of these. Um, The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think I ever reviewed Get Out. I've been thinking, maybe I did, and have to go. Maybe I have to go through my videos. I don't know. I think I saw it during when I was living in Florida, um, during the last half of last year, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one of those things where I was like, I'll review it tomorrow or later, and then I never did it. Maybe I did. I don't know. Did I? Um, Either way, so the Big Sick, I said this movie's going to get nominated for Best Original Screenplay. Also, I think I said that about The Shape of Water. Uh, my favorite to win is The Big Sick. Lady Bird, I think, is an awfully overrated movie. The so-called challenges and trials that this girl has to go through, to me, are really first world problems, man. There's nothing serious there. Her mom's kind of mean, not as mean as another mom in another movie, um, but it's just part of growing up. There was no moment in that movie that was any thing that was a big deal. And interestingly enough, three of these movies were based on true events or inspired by. Right? Get Out was unbelievably original. I think Get Out might win, but my pick is gonna be The Big Sick. I'm gonna say The Big Sick is my favorite to win, and I'm gonna say I think it is gonna win. I would not be surprised if Get Out comes in and steals it though. But I'm going for The Big Sick, and I said I think this movie might even win. It's gonna get nominated, so another prediction I was correct. Um, and I'm going for The Big Sick. It's incredibly well written, and I just remember that was just in that just it being well written just was ingrained in my mind after I walked out of that movie. So that's my pick. Adapted screenplay. Oh, one thing I forgot to start. I was going to start off with a section called snubs. I'll just do that right now. Who were the Oscar snubs? Definitely, Coco didn't get nominated for Best Picture. That's a snub. Uh, Hugh Jackman did not get nominated for Best Actor. That's a snub. Jeremy Renner didn't get nominated for Best Actor. That's a snub. In fact, Wind River didn't get nominated for anything. I think Wind River was was enormously snubbed. I don't know why. It was an excellent movie. It was a great freaking movie. It's the same guy who wrote Sicario and um, Hell or High Water. For some reason, this third one they just ignored it. I don't know why. I think it's his first time directing. He did a great job. That was the biggest snub. And Logan. I also think Patrick Stewart deserved Best Supporting Actor, and maybe even that little girl for Best Supporting Actress who played X-23. Definitely got snubbed. Logan and Wind River. Those are the two movies I think. Um, but at least Logan got a nomination, which is the next one. and that's for adapted screenplay. So we have Call Me by Your Name, which I think is based on the book, The Disaster Artist, based on The Room, the book, the book called The Disaster Artist. Logan, which is based on, I think, Brian Michael Bendis's Old Man Logan. I think Brian Michael Bendis wrote it. I could be probably completely wrong. Molly's Game by Aaron Sorkin. I did not see Molly's Game. I really should have seen it. I regret not seeing it. I guess I still can go see it. There's still time. It's still in theaters. And Mudbound, which I did not see. So I have a feeling that The Disaster Artist is going to win. But I'm 100% rooting for Logan. I want Logan to win. Please, that movie needs some kind of Oscar recognition. It was probably my favorite movie of last year. Definitely in the top two, top three, maybe the top two. It's like that one and Coco were my top two movies. I think maybe Logan might be my favorite movie of last year. I'm really, really upset. I thought that movie could possibly be a Best Picture contender. Definitely Hugh Jackman should have got recognized, but you know they gave it adapted screenplay. So I mean, I guess that's better than nothing, right? Something is better than nothing. So I'm gonna say I think Disaster Artist will win, but I want Logan to win. That's my desire. Okay, moving on. Best animated short. So the only one of these that I've seen is Dear Basketball, and that's Kobe Bryant actually was co-creator on that. Him and Glenn Keane. Now, Dear Basketball is a little animated movie that they played on the big Jumbo Vision. Excuse me. On the big Jumbo Vision at the Staples Center during his jersey retirement ceremony. It's a beautiful little. It's like a pencil sketch style little short film that they did, and I thought it was great. Now, the other nominations are Garden Party, Lou, Negative Space, and Revolting Rhymes. I haven't seen any of those, so the only one that I can say is Dear Basketball. Plus, I don't know any of these other people. I would like to see. I think it'd be neat to have Kobe Bryant win an Oscar. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool. So I'm gonna go for Dear Basketball. Animated short. Now here we go with animated feature. I think this is a lock, a guaranteed win for Coco, with Leah Unkrich and Darla Anderson. The other nominations are Ferdinand. I didn't bother to see that. Loving Vincent. I don't know what that is. The Breadwinner. Never heard of it. And The Boss Baby, which I heard is stupid, but it's just kind of on there because it made money. Coco was a masterful film. I think it deserved to also be nominated for Best Picture. If this movie does not win animated feature, this is a huge snub. It should be a lock. And again, I predicted this one in my Coke review. I said this movie should get Best Animated Feature, maybe Best Song. So I think Coco is coming away with two. I think it's got two nominations, and I think it'll win both. Really hope. I want it to win two Oscars. It's a great movie. Okay. Moving on, Best Director. Chris Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for The Phantom Thread, and Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. I think it's almost a lock for Guillermo del Toro to win for Shape of Water. He very much so is in a auteur. I think his time has come. This is the movie. This is his time. I think Guillermo del Toro is going to take it. That's my prediction. I think I said in the review that he's going to get nominated. And I think he's going to win. Yeah. Yep. The other directors were good. Again, Lady Bird I think is a little bit overrated, but whatever. And the other movies are all good though. Lady Bird is good. It's not as good as these other ones. But amongst these, yeah, I think Shape of Water. Yeah, it's definitely Guillermo del Toro. Okay, so we are now in the big five, I believe. 4, 5. The big six, which is director, actor, actress, and picture. So best supporting actress. Mary J. Blige, I did not see Mudhound. Allison Janney, I, Tonya. Leslie Manville for Phantom Thread. Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird. Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water. I predicted Laurie Metcalf would get a nomination for Lady Bird. I think I also predicted that Allison Janney would get nominated for I, Tonya. And I think I also said Leslie Manville. I predicted that one, I think. But looking at this list, Allison Janney is going to win for I, Tonya. It's hers to lose. She's better. She's better than everyone else. Head and Shoulders, man, she was brutal. Her character was absolutely unforgiving, unrelenting, and brutal. It made me hate her, and that's a good sign of a great performance. So she's my vote. Now, Best Supporting Actor. I did not see The Florida Project. I heard that was people don't know how that movie, it made like almost no money, and from what I heard, it's a masterful film. I did not see it, so I can't root for William Dafoe. William Dafoe is one of my favorite actors. Unfortunately, I cannot vote for that. Richard Jenkins in The Shape of Water. Christopher Plummer in All the Money in the World. Sam Rockwell in Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And Woody Harrelson for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Woody Harrelson was good in Three Billboards, but the problem I think is his role was short. I don't want to give anything away. Christopher Plummer was excellent. Especially he did this last minute thing where they replaced Kevin Spacey because he's a perv. Richard Jenkins was good, but Sam Rockwell definitely was a character that you could tell had a lot of anger and pain inside of him. And towards the end, I think he goes on this sort of quest for redemption. And a lot of it has to do with something that Woody Harrelson's character told him. Sam Rockwell is a great actor, and I think this is his year. I don't think he's ever won one before. He's a guy. I mean, when I saw Moon, that's really when this guy started to stand out. It's like, Moon, what is this movie? It's like there's one actor in that movie, and it's him. So who else? I mean, he's carried a movie by himself before, and he plays this terrible, terrible police officer in Three Billboards. And you feel for his character by the end. He's my pick for Best Supporting Actor, Sam Rockwell for Three Billboards. Now, lead actress. My pick, before I saw Three Billboards, was for Margot Robbie in I, Tonya. I also liked Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those two. So the nominees are Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for Three Billboards, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, if I'm saying her name right, and Meryl Streep for The Post. Meryl Streep gets nominated for every little thing she does. Could be a movie of her taking a dump. Oh my god, it's great. But once I saw Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, there's no way Frances McDormand is not going to get it. It's hers. I think it's a lock. She's my pick. She's head and shoulders better than everybody else here. Sally Hawkins was good in the sense of showing restraint, but it's a very and Casey Affleck won with a more restrained performance too. But her character doesn't speak at all. She pulls it off, but Frances McDormand was just, man, her character was determined in that movie. Driven by anger, driven by pain. You felt it. You felt her pain. And you felt where the motivation was coming from. So Frances McDormand, she's my pick. I think she's a lock. Lead actor, Timothée Chalamet. For Call Me By Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis. Again, another actor that gets nominated every time for Phantom Thread. He was great. He's my favorite actor of all time. Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out. Wow. Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel. I did not see that movie. I never even heard of that movie. My pick is Gary Oldman for The Darkest Hour. A lot of people are saying it's going to come down to between Timothée Chalamet, however you say his name, and Gary Oldman. But Gary Oldman, because he's got such, I can't believe he doesn't have an Oscar already. He's been so everything from like Sid and Nancy to the villain in The Fifth Element. Uh, so many other great movies that he's been in, and he's done the villain from Air Force One. Uh, he has an enormous range, and he can do accents. Sometimes I couldn't even remember what his accent was, what he really sounds like. Um, this is his. I think it's a lock. Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour. Timothy Chalamet might come in and steal it. They gotta give this one to Gary, man. They just got to. I really hope they don't. Just who was the best performer, okay? Please don't have any other agendas, Academy. I think Gary Oldman was the best performance. Okay, and Best Picture, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, I'm upset Logan isn't on this. But the nominees for Best Picture are Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, Shape of Water, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So I think, looking at this list, these are not my favorite movies of last year. These are all excellent films. They're all great films. All of them are fantastic films. Lady Bird probably is the weakest of these. And Dunkirk, I think, is overrated. If you've noticed, I don't think I've voted for Dunkirk on anything. I said I think it might win editing, but I don't want it to. So I think Lady Bird and Dunkirk are the weakest here. The Post also is good. It's not as strong as Phantom Thread or Call Me By Your Name. But based on these movies, I think The Shape of Water is going to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. If anyone can steal it, I think it might be Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I don't think Call Me By Your Name is going to get it. I think it's The Shape of Water. So that's going to get Best Director and Best Picture. Yeah. So those are my Oscar predictions for 2018. I think the Oscars are in about 3 or 4 weeks. We'll have to watch. I have to get TV again. I disconnected my TV before I went to Florida a few months ago, and now I don't have TV. So I have to get that reconnected. And stay tuned for my best of 2017, even though it's like the first week in February. I guess better late than never. But I'll be putting that together really soon. Let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe. And I will see you guys later. All right. Bye.